Not today. Wrecking Ball historic Minnesota church is transformed. Wow, into a $3.4 million custom home. Oh, where is this? White Bear?
White Bear.
White Bear. Oh my God, look at that picture. That's huge. Oh my
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's different.
It's all solar.
Wow, look at the stained glass.
Jesus.
Can you, I hate to say this, but I can already smell like that old church smell. Just looking at the pictures. I don't know about 3.5 million, but okay.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that entertainment. They had a band.
Yeah, this is probably a concert guy.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, here's a lifestyle.
Hey, honey, I'm going to church. And then you go to your buddy's house and sit at the bar. And
what about like 5 dudes, bros, buying this together and having their little bachelor pad like this? It'd be amazing.
It'd be ridiculous.
Not the best place to do a bachelor pad, but
it might be a really fun Airbnb though too, or something, or a VRBO or whatever, where bunch of families go rent it for Christmas or something, and you have this chaotic like hall.
Loft bedroom.
Look at that old bar. That's right out of a bar.
I
bet that's historic. Took it out of some old St. Paul bar or something. It'd be kind of cool. Then there's the basement.
I'm gonna have a hard time believing this little wading pool. Looks like maybe probably a little hot tub. I'm kind of finding it hard to believe that thing would be $3.4 million. What did it appraise for?
$390,000.
You're not going to get any buy down on that, Andy.
Well,
that is a problem, by the way. That is a problem. If there's no like-kind properties, it's very hard to appraise.
Oh, try to get financing on that. I'm right now helping a buy an apartment building, and we're going in there and we're buying it. I don't want to give all the details. Let's just say it this way: there's an institution that's selling it, and they used to have like all this as part of a blanket policy. The insurance was blanketed, the maintenance was blanketed, the all of the rent was coming in on every unit, and so it's all smoke and mirrors. The building's been vacant for probably 2 years. Because their people that they would put in there aren't coming in there. So there's no rent coming in, for an example. So all of a sudden now, the rules of the banks are they have to have a profit and loss statement going. And you can't buy a building commercially like that that's losing money. They just won't finance it. So unless you can leverage other assets or whatever.
Unless you're positioned.
Yeah, unless you're positioned, right. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, you look at some of this stuff and you go, like you're saying, Chris, with commercial going residential and back and forth, you're right. There are some really interesting banking rules you should analyze first before you ever step foot into a project like this. So
I'll tell you the other thing that people should do if they're looking to get into investing and buying properties is get a relationship with a bank. And I would go kind of more towards the smaller town banks, because they're a lot more aggressive. And it's a huge thing to be able to have that relationship for exactly what Andy's talking about. Opportunities like this that show up that are amazing and that you can make work and no one else can make work, and the price comes down because no one else can make it work. All of a sudden you jump in and grab something that's going to be amazing, flip it around and turn it and sell it to someone else. So, or, create the income out of it. There's some things like Andy's talking about there. Since there's no rent coming in there, I mean, that price is probably plummeted. All of a sudden Andy's person goes in there, cleans that place up a little, gets the rents up to $800 a unit, and all of a sudden he's got $50,000 a month coming in as income. Now that's going to look pretty damn good on your balance sheet, so you can take that and go buy something else.
That's exactly how a lot of those big boys and big girls in the business make money. Mm-hmm. They buy buildings that aren't fully occupied, renovate them, fill them, and then sell them at a profit pretty fast, because that's how the game's played.
And you got to get people to banks can think without having 75 people behind them and all of these rules and regulations. They maybe have a board, maybe there's 5 people. So but Andy's situation where this thing is vacant, why can't they look at that like, hey, it's just a new construction that we're going to build this place. We don't have no renters. We think we're going to be able to get them. And this is how we're going to do it. So you have good stories to be able to sell to those banks, and they buy into it. You can make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, and they'll go drive by it. I mean, they're not just going to, we don't do churches. They'll drive by it and take a look at it, maybe give them a tour, show them the blueprint, show them the what you're planning on doing with it. That's where you spend a little money. You and I both know this, Chris. Sometimes it's worth doing some renderings on the front end, because then you can sell what you believe can happen, and then they can see what you're selling. And then all of a sudden, the extra $15,000 you spent on renderings and drawings and plans, all of a sudden now help everybody visualize your end goal. And that can make all the difference in the world working on a project, especially if it's creative, or different.
Visualize
and
conceptualize, meaning that if you see it, oh my God, that's what you're trying to say. But me being able to talk about it and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do and here's what I want.